Welcome back to Rain Rises, hosted by the E.G.G, Southeast Texas's insiders on the residents of previously on Rain Rises.
This thing is so gross looking. Maybe someone will want it. No damn mind. Maybe Elizabeth? That old coat has more books than the town's library at this point.
Esther, dear, you must calm down. What do you mean this book is haunted? Dear, please tell your daughter that she's speaking nonsense.
Get up, Esther. Let's go inside. That monster. I've seen it before, back in my younger years. Came after some book.
How did she get rid of it?
She didn't. Died to the same thing that was chasing you. Reason I recognized it.
I come back and some disgusting beast is trying to maul you. I'm so sorry.
Enjoy today's episode.
Shock was the best way to describe the silence that stretched between the three of them. Who was this man, masked only to see his eyes? How had he so easily snuck up on them? What did he know? How many questions burrowed into Esther and Ari's mind, conjoining at the single thought of, can we trust this guy?
You really have gotten yourself into a fine mess, huh?
Who are you? What are you even talking about?
What's your deal?
I'll tell you what my deal is after a nice chat and a nicer bottle of beer. Sound good?
They were innately at a standstill. The two girls did not want to move, but his harsh, almost frantic tone forced them to move. Realistically, it was a terrible decision. A strange man who seemed to have a penchant for violence, and two young adult women. But something told them that he could be trusted. Maybe the look in his eyes.
Fine. Let's go inside. My mom and dad are working.
Lead the way.
Esther shot him a glare as she turned around again, a slight shake in her hand as she stepped back towards the house. Ari took her hand, grimacing slightly as they walked together, thoughts too cluttered to clear, and hand tight on her bag.
Sit on the couch. The dinner's to the right. I'll make something, I guess. Do you like coffee, tea? We've got beer, but it's not 5 yet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but I won't intrude that much. Water's fine.
Why did I let him in?
Dude, I don't know. Why did you?
I don't know. He looks like he knows something. Go ask him.
What? Why me?
Please.
Fine.
Ari's brow had furrowed, upset, obvious on her face. She didn't like the idea of this man in Esther's house, or around two of them to begin with. But her friend was right. He did seem to know something. She took a glance at Esther, who seemed to be zoning out a bit. The other girl shook herself from the trance-like state and kept moving. Ari looked back at the man.
What do you know?
Hmm.
Why are you here? Answer, now.
Put down the spray, and I'll tell you.
I'm not fucking stupid. Tell me.
Apollomy.
What does that mean?
The book. Bound in skin.
What?
That book you have. It's bound in human skin. Couldn't tell?
Everything suddenly made sense. The feeling of the leather, the raised carvings and slipping embellishments. The dye, splotchy and refusing to stick to the leather. She had thought it was badly done, but it was unmistakable. The way that the dye stains the skin after dyeing Easter eggs. Why hadn't she thought of that before?
Esther, are you...
She went to follow her friend, fighting her own nausea. But this man was too far calm and too suspicious to leave alone.
Shut up! Just shit, answer!
The man raises his hands, as if surrendering, a slight bitter smile crossing onto his face.
The name is Matteo. I'm a part of the E.G.G studios. I want to...
Huh? Like the radio station?
The very same.
The man moves slow, grabbing the edge of his mask. Black, a dust mask, like they used years ago during the pandemic. He lowers it and shocks Ari. She expected an older man, but he was far closer to her and Esther's age than she expected. Likely in his late 20s at the latest.
Why is a radio guy here?
Well, we have a paranormal division. We're going to start a segment and have been tracking that book.
He points at the coffee table next to the now set down bear spray. The word bitter on the tongue of two young women. It wasn't there before, but it had become normal for Esther. Ari seemed slightly bewildered still, but the man was as calm as ever.
Now, let's chat.
So, you want to unbind the book from Esther?
That is the plan. I have a storage unit on the outskirts of town rented out. One of those bigger ones you can put cars in. We also need chalk, and I hope you can speak Latin.
Me and Esther took choir, so kind of, but not really. Esther, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
You need to stop zoning out, man. Jeez.
It's a side effect. Means it's getting worse.
Getting worse. What is?
Your mind's attachment to the book. If you're already like this, then we need to get a move on.
Huh?
Esther stared at him, a bit in disbelief, but she was inclined to believe him. Something told her that that was the correct decision. But if he was right, could she even trust herself?
We need some chalk, right? Esther has some in her room. Esther, can you...
The morning flashed before her. It was mid-afternoon now, but she couldn't risk that again. Esther's Uncle Richard had warned them, but she didn't listen and almost lost her best friend.
I'll grab them.
So, Esther,
Huh?
open the book. Let's look for the chant.
It's in the book?
Allegedly.
She needs to clean up this mess. Where is that damn chalk?
She had been in Esther's room many times, but for some reason it felt off. Sadder, maybe? The past couple of days felt like a whirlwind of events, and she had only heard about them secondhand. Esther getting the book, the whispering, the monster, and she couldn't ignore it anymore.
Oh.
Esther needed her, now more than ever. The decline was so quick and subtle. Who knew where Esther's mind would be by evening? And their only help was a strange man who claimed to be a paranormal investigator for a radio station of all places.
Aha!
She found chalk, most pieces broken for some reason or another. The biggest piece was a bright pink that seemed to stain all it touched, but it would do. No color was specified after all.
Found it.
Mateo and Esther had already moved to the front door, waiting for her. Esther didn't have her bag, only the book, and her gaze was steely fear evident. However, before Ari could say anything, she watched Esther smile up at her, like a flipped switch.
Come on. Let's go into that storage unit, yeah? You found the chalk, right?
Yeah, I did.
Good. I'll tell you the chant just in case, as we go.
Esther, who was normally a space cadet, was much more today, having met Mateo early this morning. But suddenly, her zoning out looked to be full-blown dissociation, like she was gazing something beyond the horizon that her vision fixated on.
Esther?
She had stopped walking, staring at the sky, meeting the forest behind the fields she walked by every day. Ari's brows furrowed, concern painting her face. She looked at Mateo, who kept walking. However, he seemed to notice the lack of noise and turned back to look at them, his neutral gaze hardening, seeing Esther.
We need to hurry. Some chalk as a catalyst and good pronunciation of Latin. You said you took choir in high school?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Wait, a catalyst?
Mateo nods, then sighs. He seems unhappy himself, though more annoyed than anything else.
A catalyst. Esther will be at the center of the ritual.
The center? What? This seems too simple. You said it was before, but still. Come on, Esther.
Esther's head snaps to attention, and a sheepish smile crosses her features.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm a catalyst or something.
Did you expect fanfare? Why would whatever cult who wrote this thing make it complicated? If they wanted to use it to indoctrinate people, the ritual had to be easy.
His words are somewhat joking, but are lined with bitterness that Ari can't place.
What if something happens?
It'll be fine as long as Esther doesn't open the book once we are inside the unit. It's been pre-warded. Never mind that. We were coming up on the place.
Huh.
An old, nondescript storage unit place. Most towns had them, but it was surprising that a town as small as theirs had anything sometimes. The units went from small to large, and a small but towering warehouse sat at the back. That was an expansive place that took up a few acres of land that could be used for more useful things, like more crops or another school. Not that there would be enough children to fill the classes. And most importantly, was a boring place that Esther passed by every day on her way home.
Which unit is it?
The big one. I said so before.
You know what I meant.
Speak clear and maybe I would understand.
They approached the place, and the older man at the front desk took one look at him and just shooed him in. The desk was closer to a refurbished ticket booth. And the window AC that seemed to be working overtime, even in the eve of winter, was a sign of how little the man cared. Not that there was really anything to care about. There were no gates leading into the field of the concrete and garage doors. He was likely just there as a witness in case anything was stolen.
So, I'm assuming the back?
Sorta.
The group continues to walk, Esther quiet as they move. They walk through the maze of units and arrive not at the large units, but the warehouse at the back. Mateo unlocks the iron door and pulls it open with a struggling grunt. Ari doesn't move to help. Keeping a hand on Esther's upper arm, slowly suspicion turned to anger. Once it is open, he ushers them inside and steps in himself, picking up an old lantern that sat next to the door.
Why do you have this place just prepared?
I said it was pre-boarded for this.
It is expansive and empty. It causes their voices to echo, returning to the air in questioning vibrations.
That's my fucking question. Why? Why would you just assume we would agree? Have you been watching us?
I can't tell you that.
He grabbed the book from Esther, which seemed to stick to her fingers. Flipping through it, nothing. Just like when he checked it, when Ari was in Esther's room.
Fuck, tell me.
Just turn off your electronics and I'll think about it.
Look, just tell us, please.
No, I've said before it isn't important. If I were to hurt you, don't you think I'd have done it by now?
That doesn't matter. We need to have the truth, or else... Or I won't let you use Esther for your fucked up experiments.
That'll just...
I'm tired of the hush-hush. I'm not stupid enough to believe that you're a fucking paranormal investigator for a radio station. I doubt you even have the money to even rent a place like this. Is this even for rent? Just answer truthfully, please.
The E.G.G, Extra Normal Global Containment. That's the name of the group I'm a part of.
His fingers curled into the flesh of the book as he handed it back off to Esther, who walked to the center of the room without question, kneeling on the concrete flooring with a slight grunt.
Why lie to us? What the hell is the E.G.G?
I'll tell you both once it's all over, I promise. First, that book needs to be unbound from Esther for many reasons. Any longer and she'll be gone to us. We just need to make sure she doesn't... Shit.
What's happening?
Move. We need that ritual now. Opening the book in here agitates the... You remember the chant, right?
I think so. Just draw the fucking circle around her.
Mateo was quick to work, taking the colored chalk Ari had given him during their walk home from his pocket, covering his hands and nice pants in hot pink dust. Better than nothing, he thought. The sound of wind they couldn't place, and whispers that up until now they had never heard. Voices of the damned melting into one another, screaming at something nondescript. Is this what Esther had been hearing? For days, has she been so haunted? It nearly caused Ari to cry.
Esther! Fuck, Mateo, hurry up!
Hold on, damn, I'm almost...
He finishes the main circle, pulling a crumpled piece of paper from his other pocket and trying to copy the symbols, smearing the page in pink dust.
Damn, the dust.
Esther continued to sit, eyes fixated on the floor, stuck in place as her skin burned. She couldn't speak, the words searing into her throat. Her own screams drowned out by the ones coming from the book in her hands. Her very skin, once chilled by the outside of the air, felt like it was melting into the ground. The screams seeped into the air and skin, tainting the wind with howls of agony, with Esther at the center.
Esther, Esther, I save you.
The book was a web, trapping Esther inside. Deeper she fell, skin sticking to the pages, muscle and tendons ripping, blood dyeing the pages, soaking into the paper.
Fuck, Mateo, please.
I'm done. Shit. Ariana, the chant.
I don't remember. It's in the book, right?
Ari had run up, rushing through the growing flames that kept her at bay. Smoke rising, they burned with no tinder, as if trying to ward her back. But Esther was her world, and this couldn't be how it ended. Not without her knowing the truth.
Esther, fuck.
Ari resisted the invisible force, trying to pull her away from Esther, back into the flames. The fallen lantern had started. Her skin pulled and tore, agony shooting through her spine. The book's pages were melting into Esther, drawing the knelt-over girl in. The page was open on the chant, the once non-existent ink visible by staining blood.
Vincent, chi pattor, veni et iuva me. Imperative dam vita est prede me. Tu es nihil.
Ari stood up, legs shaking, crimson dripping into her eyes and painting her vision red. A headache shot through her skull as her sight swam, focusing on Esther.
Stella, I love.
Esther did not move, blood pooling beneath her kneeling body, eyes focused on the horizon. The last thing Ari saw was Mateo running towards the two of them, but her own hand was outstretched to Esther as her vision faded to black.
Rain Rises, hosted by the E.G.G. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Rain Rises, and check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/rainrises. Thank you for listening. Rain Rises. Transmission ended.